Well, hello everybody. Calgary Real Estate Show for last day of August.
Yeah.
First day of school for the public kids here in Calgary, Thursday, August 31st. And with these extra days in the month, that means we don't have a month wrap up today, but we're going to go through the weekly stats. I'm going to give a prognostication on what we'll see next week. We may make it interesting.
Nice.
Yeah. Awesome.
This is Magic Mark.
Yeah, exactly. And so when we look at our weekly stats, so we'll go through our weekly stats. Jaden's got some mortgage rate news and all the interest rates. Natalie has a very interesting feature today about how to paint a house that has honey oak trim. So we'll get to that all here in a second. But look at those new listings down again this week. So they've been sliding. Like, look at the last 5 weeks. We were at 264. That last week of July into early August. And we're down to 222 now. And these are, of course, detached stats if you've never seen the show before, because that is the majority of home sales in Calgary, cyclically and certainly in the last 3 years. Sold 291, so 131 sale to new listing ratio. So if we average that out, which I did not do prior to the show, but we're going to end up at, for detached homes, somewhere in that like 110%, 115% for the month of August. So, that is still very, very much a seller's market, as we have been experiencing with our buyers over the past week, over the past few weeks here. So pendings of 223, price reduced to 135, back on market 39, days on market up slightly. But when Natalie shows you the time machine, you'll be pretty impressed, because it's dropped significantly since last year. Active detached dropped by 29 homes, and our total active significant drop there, almost 100 homes, 80 homes from last year. And over to you, Natalie.
All right. The real estate time machine. Last year, this week, total sales was at 467. This week, it's at 642. So that's up 37.5%. New listings last year, 523. This year, 619. So up 18%. Active listings last year, 49, 60, 89, I think. This year, 3289. So that's down 34%, sort of going same by week. And days on market last year was 36. This year, 27. So down 25%.
Yeah, it's a big drop. And, and here's I guess the best way to describe the market right now, and this is a 1 week snapshot, so let's not, build our house on this, but look at the total sales, look at the new listings, right? Mm-hmm. We're still, and it tends to be week over week, and we've seen that actually in the previous slide, sales, and this is all the segments too, right? This is apartment condos, row townhouses, semi-detached and detached. Mm-hmm. 642 sales, 619 listings. So we still don't have enough standing inventory to really supply the market out there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Jaden, what do you got for us?
Yeah, well, I'm going to jump into this one. I want to say it's incredible to me seeing you guys every week, and I don't look into these numbers that you guys look into, but the active listings has consistently been between negative 32 to 35.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and that's consistent as beyond what I can remember. So it's just amazing market that we're in, and amazingly attractive interest rates is my segue into what's going on here. Really, we've seen a little slight movement in fixed. Most across the board, it's gone up about 0.1%. Not a huge amount of movement. The things that are happening in the bond market are really odd right now, and we're really seeing a lot of this, right? And so, what happens when that happens? When bond yields are going like this? Well, it's very simple. When it's going like this, the lenders go up, but when it's going like this, they don't go back down again, because they say, well, it's just going to come back up again, right? Yeah. So there's been a lot of that going on the fixed side. I really think we're going to be hovering around kind of a little bit of up and down over the next several 3 to 6 months, without any real huge movement. The big thing that's happening next week, I believe it's the 7th, would be the 7th, is the Bank of Canada announcement on Prime. And so, of course, we had however many in a row, and stopped for 2 cycles, and then had 2 more rate hikes again. I read a recent Reuters article. 31 out of 34 polled economists believe that the Bank of Canada will hold steady. There's some things going on that might have scared people. Inflation went up again and things like that. But there's a lot of other things that are coming out now in terms of employment rates, GDP growth, all that kind of stuff. It really does say that the Bank of Canada ought to hold steady. Now, with Tiff Macklin, I could never tell you exactly what decision those guys are going to make, but I would be pretty confident in the opinion of those economists as well, that likely we're holding steady, so we won't see any movement on those variable rates going into the fall here.
Right. You had an interesting conversation with one of our clients last night at our business networking group about, they're looking at a 5-year fixed, and, and you've been saying this for this whole kind of chapter where the rates have been higher, but maybe recount a little bit for our audience what that conversation was.
Well, first off, what they were offered is garbage. Like that's the first thing. And I guess that's the thing, right? Like the lenders of all sorts right now, they're not throwing life reserves, they're throwing
boat anchors.
Metal. Yeah, boat anchors. Thank you. That's and so it's really like the over time, the highest returner for banks and lenders across the board is the 5-year fixed. Now, the 5-year fixed right now, especially, is going to be a big earner for them, right? Like the interest rates are ridiculous. So this person was offered on a 5-year fixed with more than 40% down. They were offered, I think it was 6.7% or something like that. It's ridiculous. It's, best rate on market for that kind of thing is closer to 5.45. So first off, that's bad. But even at that 5.45 being the best rate on the market out there, I just think it's too long. I think if you're locking into a 2-year, 1-year fixed, if you're really a little bit of a card player and believe, like I do, that we're coming up to a pretty major market correction in terms of where rates are headed in the next kind of 12 to 18 months, variable is still a great play, right? So, of course, if you're most comfortable with a 5-year fix, I'm happy to. It's always up to what you want to do. I don't make that decision for you. Give the advice based on my experience, and then we go the way you want to go. But I don't see a lot of value in 5-year fixed right now.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right, let's go to Honey Oak. Honey, come home with the oak.
This literally looks like the kitchen in the old house in Oak Ridge. Exactly like it. Yeah, quite scary. Okay, so today we're talking about colors that go with honey oak. We all know that there is a ton of it out there. The city is flooded with honey oak, like I'm sure a lot of other places. So this is just ways to sort of mitigate it. So this first example is using, I said warm neutrals, not warm neutrals, and natural materials. Apparently I need to spell check myself. So this one is just saying, on the picture on the right, they're using a cream rather than white backsplash just to sort of keep it neutral, but you don't want anything too yellow, right? Depends on the tone of your honey oak. Some are very yellow, some is very red. So you really, if you have more of a yellow honey oak, I would not do any of these, like this sort of butter color. It's going to be too much. Next one is cool neutrals like white, black, and marble, which I love with this. So it's taking the heaviness of the honey oak and countering it with a lighter, brighter color above. And then on the one on the right, you can't really see it very well, but they use a white and black mosaic tile, which sort of the black grounds that color. So it's sort of pulling away from the cabinet color and expressing the other, features in the kitchen. This one I love is green and gold. I know Mark hates green with a passion. Would never go near it, but I love it. I think it's gorgeous. But they use a sage. So this is really good if you have a lot of yellow undertone in your actual cabinets, because it just sort of, it's a cool offset to the warm cabinet color. And it just looks really sharp. Like, you don't like that color, Mark?
Yeah, I don't mind it there. I really don't like it for sports teams like the Green Bay Packers or the Edmonton Elks.
Edmonton Eskimo. I get that.
Don't tell Tom.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
So this is using blue and warm neutrals, because blue, this shade of blue is really good with this red toned or orangey toned honey oak. It's sort of because it's quite cool, and then you're using just a warmer white up top, like on the hood band and the backsplash or the wall of the back there. So it looks really sharp. I quite like this as well. Subtle earth tones. Again, I don't think Mark would go anywhere near this. This is using a bit of terracotta, a little bit of a lighter sort of, I call that sort of a rose color. That's me. But it sort of works with, again, that yellow undertone. So it just sort of neutralizes it a little bit. So that's all I got.
All right. Okay, speaking of the Elks, they're in town on Monday. Note the later start time. So it's 5 o'clock. I shouldn't say later. I know it flip-flops every year due to TSN. Stampeders.com for all your tickets. There's still the Wildscapes going on at the zoo. And then we saw actually on Global TV this morning, Fiesta Filipino had some great costumes and food they were sampling. And so that is going on this weekend, September. So that's tomorrow through Sunday at Olympic Plaza. So there's going to be music and dancing and food and, you know, everything Filipino, which I think is fantastic. That's great.
Right.
I'm not aware of that before Fiesta Filipino. I'm not sure if it's new or not, but that just might be my ignorance. So yeah, that's it for this week's show. And next week we will be away, but we are doing a live show on location from where we will be. And the reason is we will have our August stats. And so you're definitely going to want to tune in for that. We're going to break down the market, but I guess I need to give a prognostication, right?
Yes.
Well, I think sales are going to be up significantly. I'm going to say 10 to 15% year over year. Listings, I think, are going to be down between 30 to 35%. I think months of supply will be right around 1 overall. Yeah, so I think that's we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And so next week we're going to coordinate with orange shirts. That's the plan.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
right. Yeah, we all wore gray to match the skies today,
Yes.
and next week
Our
we'll do
furnace
orange.
is on right now.
Our furnace is on.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, have a great Labor Day weekend, everybody. Last long weekend of summer. I hate to say it, but that's what happens, right?
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Good stuff, guys. All right, we'll talk to everybody in 7 days.